morning, everybody. How you doing today? My name's Andrew.
I'm Daniel.
I'm Matt.
I'm Lauren.
I'm Tracy.
I'm Grandpa.
I'm Mimi.
I'm Aunt Becky.
And we're some of the Veggie Boys.
Hey, girls.
And we'd like to thank you for stopping by. If you're new here, please consider subscribing because we can grow a lot of stuff on the farm, but one thing we can't grow is this channel without your help. Welcome back, everyone. It's so nice to see you. Our morning has started off a little on the cool side, but it is supposed to warm up. We did get a slight shower yesterday, so things are a little wet, but compared to what other people are dealing with, it's not too big of an issue right now. We've dealt with a lot of rain over the past 2 months, more than I ever thought we would get compared to the start of the year. But thankfully, we've been able to get all of our jobs done, and we got some jobs to do today. First job, though, is to get the farm market all set up. But before we do that, look at this. Oh, it's that time of the year. Well, not technically. It's like almost that time of the year. We're getting close. But let's get the farm market set up first. I just got the floors all swept and I've now got our table sanitized. So all that's left is to pull everything out of the cooler. But something of note to mention today is that we will not have Matthew's help. Matthew went to the auction this morning and it's not usually a day where he goes to the auction. However, this upcoming weekend is a holiday. We are expected to be pretty busy and we think the prices at the auction are also gonna be high going further into the week. So what we're hoping is by getting to the auction earlier, we're gonna be able to save some money. So normally Matthew does not go today, but we made a group decision and we felt it was best for the farm if he went. Everything has been pulled out of the cooler and we're filling up a few things, but the farm market is just about set up. The peppers have been really popular, also the beans, and I can't even tell you how many tomatoes we've harvested already. It's been a lot of stuff, but that's why we grow everything, so that we can harvest it and sell it. So that's a good thing that we've had so many people showing up for produce. Now that the farm market is all set up, we are now down around back taking care of the animals. Dad and Daniel are currently grabbing silage for the cattle, and I'm gonna grab the grain. We've got all the silage and now all the grain dumped in for the cattle. While we're here, we're taking a few minutes this morning to get the cattle also bed up. Daniel is dumping sawdust. Before we get moved on with the day, we were just grabbing a round bale and dumping it in for the cattle. So now we should be moving on to our next jobs. Go back up. We've been running a little low on our supply of bagged potatoes, so we're gonna fix that. We have a beautiful bin full right here, and if we needed a little bit more this morning, we have this bin here along with some red potatoes. So this is a pretty straightforward process. We just take the potatoes from the bin and move them into the bag. Now these bags that we have right here, we want 50 pounds in each bag. So after we fill the bags, we weigh them, and then we will sew them shut. And this job is a little easier right now because we had gone through and washed the potatoes. So we know that there is no imperfections because after we wash them, we sort them as well, which just allows us to move a little bit faster while we're bagging. We then bring the bags over to our scales and we try and make sure that we have the correct weight in, accounting for the bag's weight, and we've got a 50-pound bag of potatoes. And then once we have our bag weighed, we just take our sewer and close up the top. And now we've got a 50-pound bag of potatoes ready to sell. Oh, too heavy, way too heavy. Put way too many potatoes in there. We have completely emptied one bin and significantly emptied the other. And we ended up with 25 50-pound bags of potatoes and 180-pound bag of potatoes.
Thanks, you made me lighter.
So now these potatoes will be moved up into the farm market and they'll be used for basically anything. A lot of restaurants will pick them up. Also, people that just eat a lot of potatoes or store them will pick them up as well. The only hard part is not spilling them all as you were taking them up, which is why Daniel's riding on top. Potatoes have all been moved into the farm market, so now we're heading out to the fields to get started picking. And we have got a full side-by-side to get started picking. We have now made it out to the fields, and the first thing we're going to be picking this morning is tomatoes.
I don't think there's any tomatoes there to pick.
Well, Dad, I think you're going to need glasses because there's a lot of tomatoes here to pick. Wow, 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 wow. We have been waiting for the plum tomatoes to ripen up and some of the round tomatoes to ripen up, and it looks like it's starting to happen. There is plenty of red tomatoes here ready to be harvested, and we might as well just jump right into it. Now, since the tomatoes are ripening up and they all look beautiful, we still have to look out for a few things. One thing, because it's been so wet, if any of these tomatoes have been touching the ground, they're going to be rotting. So we're gonna have to watch out for that as we're picking. Shouldn't be too much of an issue for us because we have the biodegradable mulch down, but it's something we're gonna have to be concerned with. There's a little bit of rotting down here. So right away, I'm noticing a lot of beautiful tomatoes have ripened. It's really easy to see just by looking at all the red in the field. But another thing we're beginning to notice is that some of these tomatoes have been waterlogged from the amount of rain we've received, and it's actually started the rotting process on some of them, like this one. Now, something we've learned is there really is no perfect year when it comes to raising vegetables. You're always gonna have some type of issue. Thankfully, the tomatoes are on the younger side. If all these tomatoes were red when we got this amount of moisture, they would have rot or split. So thankfully, we had plenty of unripe tomatoes that are now ripening, and we're able to reap the benefits because of it. We have been saying as a family, why haven't the tomatoes been ripening up, and why haven't they been turning red? And ultimately, I think we're all pretty happy with the fact that they didn't turn red earlier. We could have lost a lot of tomatoes due to this weather, but from the looks of it, we're having a good year.
This is my tomatoes I'm picking, Andrew. Look how nice they are.
As much as we don't want to, we will have to admit, Dad, those tomatoes look pretty good over there. Gotta get the tomatoes hiding all the way underneath. Sometimes they like to hide. Now, we obviously talk a lot about harvesting, but when it comes to harvesting in general, tomatoes are my favorite thing to pick. I know harvesting tomatoes sometimes is not easy, but when you find tomatoes that look like these, it makes it so much more enjoyable. Now, tomatoes, once we get into the busiest time of the year, like we're getting to right now, it does come into very high demand, so we end up picking these a lot. Which with other crops, I sometimes get tired of it, but I don't usually get too tired of harvesting tomatoes. But that does come with a caveat. If the tomatoes are nice, then I don't mind picking them. But if we deal with a bad year, whether it comes to weather or disease, then they're not as fun because you do have to weed through all of the rotten tomatoes. And thankfully, we're not having to do that too much so far this year. A little bit with the extra moisture, we are finding some bad ones, but it's not too bad. There are way more nicer ones than there aren't. So this makes picking much more enjoyable. Another thing I really enjoy harvesting is peppers, but for me personally, I don't know what it is, I could pick tomatoes all day. We're just picking right along this morning, and I found some help for us out here in these fields. What's up, buddy? This is a praying mantis, if you've never seen one. And yes, they can fly. They look really, really cool. He's out here grabbing bugs for us this morning. Very cool. They are very neat to see. We've been making some good progress with the tomatoes. I think we're right around 10 plus baskets of plum. Not 100% sure, I didn't count when I put on the wagon last. Dad is doing well with the round tomatoes. The round tomatoes are the nicest I ever remember them being. So it's been really easy on him to get those harvested, and he's closing in on 10 baskets also. Wow, these plum tomatoes are huge. As I've been harvesting these exact plum tomatoes, I've noticed they've been on the larger side, and I think this is one of the new varieties that we planted this year. Now, we used to raise a variety called Plum Crimson, but we switched over to a new variety called Shelby. Now, Plum Crimson was a larger plum tomato, and Shelby has been our replacement for that. These also are large canning plum tomatoes. Now, we raise Mariana, that's our main plum variety, and Shelby was something new that we were trying, but I think I really like these Shelby. Don't get me wrong, I still like the Mariana tomatoes, but the Shelby are just so big and they fill a basket a lot quicker, which is always nice. As long as the tomatoes look good and taste good, that's important. Tasting good, that's the #1 thing. You know, we always talk about enjoying the type of work that we do, harvesting all these crops, but when you see a wagon starting to fill up and you see baskets scattered throughout a field, oh, it makes this so much better. And that's something crazy. Who knew farming could get even better? I mean, just check it out. We're just finishing up our last few baskets of tomatoes for the morning. Mom was out here with us as well. She just got done with some eggplant, but she also picked dill, parsley, and basil. Now that we're just finished with harvesting all the tomatoes, we're gonna have to get them all loaded onto the wagon. And Dad, in an effort to pick a little bit faster, did not carry his tomatoes out. So we're gonna have to carry all his tomatoes out for him. But we'll allow it because he's old. You know, Grandpa's kind of old, so we got to take care of him. Working my way out through the field picking up baskets, and I just found some beautiful heirloom tomatoes. Beautiful color, beautiful flavor. All finished with harvesting for the morning. I just wanted to grab this tomato that Dad picked. Here it is, right next to my head. That is one large tomato. And this is how it looks in my hand. I can't even put my hand around it. That is one large tomato. I'll share with you something that's really cool. That corn right there, that's the last planting of sweet corn. Yeah, it's that big already. And here are all the cole crops. Go from cabbage to broccoli, cauliflower, and then we also got some more cabbage over here. The crops are a-growing. Look at this wagon, Dad. What do you think of it? Is this a nice looking wagon?
Beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful. The girls were saying that the farm market was really busy. We got home and there's 5 cars here, 1 just left, but I'm sure it was busy. The people have been picking up the produce. And not only have they been looking for produce, but we got all these mums up here, and people have been really excited about that. We are a little late for lunch, but we finally made it in here. It looks like we are having sausage and mac and cheese. We're just finishing up our lunch here on the farm. We're gonna be moving down around back to get all those tomatoes that we harvested cleaned up. Not only are we gonna be running them through the washer, we're also gonna be sorting them based on how ripe they are. Plum tomatoes have now all been washed and they are completing sorting them. These are the plum tomatoes that are going to be going up top and sold as canners right away. We have 2, 4, 6, 8 baskets, plus a basket on the back, so that brings us to 9 baskets. And then the rest of the plum have been put in here to ripen up a little bit more. They don't need much time. However, by the weekend, I think they will be ready to be sold. We still have a little bit more to wash. We have all these round tomatoes, which is what we're going to be doing now. This is our little section of tomatoes that need to ripen up a little bit, and everything that would be ready for sale is now on the wagon, and we're gonna take it up top. Whenever that washer turns on over there, the cattle get excited because they know they're either getting peppers, tomatoes, or potatoes, and they love the sound of it. Tomatoes were all moved into the front of the farm market. Looks pretty good out here. We just got the wagon hooked up to the side-by-side, and now we're on to our next job. The next thing we're gonna be picking today is beans. We've actually called some people around, making sure we got all the orders together, and we're a little low on the beans that we need, which is why we're out here picking. We just got some yellow beans picked. They look really good. Only issue is they were a little on the younger side, so there was a lot of green in there. But the main focus for coming out here today is green beans. We had a few people come and pick up some green beans. All the green beans we have back at the farm are sold, and I believe we need 2 bushel for more orders. We need a little bit for the farm market, and Aunt Rhonda wants to do some beans too, so we need some for her. And those are the most important customers you got to take care of. Family. Pretty successful. We were able to get 4 bushels of green beans off that row. That should be enough for the orders, and it should be enough for Aunt Rhonda. These are some beautiful beans. Now that the beans are all harvested, we're going to take them back to the farm, and once we get everything unloaded, we're going to be moving on to our next job. I don't know, Dad, that was a pretty big yawn.
Getting tired.
It's not even September yet.
We'll be in a day or so.
So the next thing that we needed to harvest today was hot cherry peppers.
Holy cow, look at the size of this jalapeno.
We're here for hot cherry peppers, Dad.
Look at this plant, Andrew.
It's huge.
The peppers.
The girls informed us at lunchtime that they have a lot of people asking for hot cherry peppers, so we feel like this is a good opportunity to get them picked. Oh yeah, there's peppers here, all right. Look at those things. Wow. Some of these plants just can't handle the amount of peppers that are sitting on them, and it's just causing them to fall over. Probably wouldn't be as big of an issue if the ground wasn't so saturated, but I mean, like, what do you expect these plants to do when they're holding on to peppers that look like that? I mean, we can't expect them all to stay straight standing. It'd probably be a little easier on the plant, but that's why we're trying to get these orders taken care of. We've been calling people and letting them know that we have hot cherry peppers, so we can get our plants picked off. It'll encourage them to keep putting on new blossoms, keep putting on new peppers, and we'll be able to get a few harvests out of these plants without losing them from snapping. Daniel is bringing over the last basket of peppers that we needed to harvest. We've got the side-by-side all loaded up with the hot cherry. We were able to get 8 baskets all together, which I think is a great haul. Now all we have to do is get this stuff back to the farm and make sure we have enough for the orders. What do you think, Daniel? Is the side-by-side looking good?
Yeah, it's looking good.
You ready to go, Dad?
I'm ready.
Side-by-side is pretty full. Hot cherry peppers have been moved into the cooler. We got quite a few baskets here. Not only do we have hot cherry peppers in here, we have bell peppers, Italian L, Cuban L, long hot, and jalapeno. So thankfully we don't need to worry about harvesting any peppers today, but it looks like tomorrow we'll have to start picking for the weekend. We've just been informed that we're gonna get hit with some pretty powerful storms tonight, and Dad does not want his combine sitting out in the rain. So we're gonna run over and get his head disconnected, and then we're gonna park the combine into the shop. This is the backside of the pasture, and quite frankly, it's just an awesome place to put some equipment. So we have a few things over here. We don't like anything to be out and in the weather, but we just don't have the storage space for everything. So you gotta do what you gotta do. So we're not finished with this shop just yet. Everything that we pulled out, we gotta bring back in. So we have the 2 trucks and a wagon that's full of straw. We're good. All right, right there, whoa. And that should about do it. The shop is all filled up with the equipment that we had in it before, plus the combine. Once we got finished moving everything into the shop, we were thinking about what our next job would be, and then we realized how late it was. So we just got all of the calves taken care of and the cattle taken care of for the night. And while Dad and I worked on that, Daniel was in here sorting eggs. Eggs are all graded, and now we're just closing up for the night. We just got closed up for the day. Everything was put into the cooler, and Matthew just got home from the auction with a big load. There was a lot of stuff there, but all taken care of and in the cooler. Now, normally tonight we would be all eating together, but we are not. Here at the main farm, they are having steak, zucchini, and corn. And now I have made it to my house where we are having mince and potatoes for dinner. My mother-in-law is here and she helped cook dinner.
It's a family Scottish recipe from my Nana.
And there's the princess. How was your day today? Oh, she's building. She's playing with blocks. What'd you do? Show me, put them together. Put them together. Oh, now take them apart. Oh. Well, everyone, we are now gonna sit down and eat some dinner. So that means this is where we're gonna end the video today. We'd like to thank everyone for watching, and we hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.